Good evening, everybody. I want to call this Committee of the Whole meeting to order at approximately 6:33 p.m. on February, what is it, 19th today? Sorry, 5:30. Yeah, somewhere in there. And I have a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Councillor Anderson and seconded by Councillor Bateman that the committee approve the February 19, 2019 Committee of the Whole meeting agenda as presented. All those in favor? And are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? None. And we have no delegations, citizens comment. Are there any citizen present that would like to make a comment?
No sheets.
No sheets. Okay. And then at this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mayor Ostrander to talk about the strategic plan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. But before I do that, I would like to ask Fire Chief Caddick to come forward. Councillor Bateman has presented me with copies of photos taken of some of our firefighters and Councillors Bateman and LeBlanc at the pond hockey tournament. So this is for you and the gentleman in the photo.
Thank you, Ostrander. I'll present that to the guys, and I would thank you, Councillor Bateman. I know the members really appreciated the support of council at the pond hockey, and we'll have these. I'll distribute these, and I'm sure we'll have one hanging at the firehouse.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And again, thank you, Deputy Mayor. So I think the best thing to do will be to go through the strategic plan that's been put together by Candace with the notes. I've made a couple of extra notes as well to talk about, but we can just discuss what, if anything, we want to change, what, if anything, we want to add as we go through. So if that's okay with you, Deputy Mayor, I'm just going to carry on. Thank you. So page 4 of our agenda package, at the top it states values. The only comment that was received was context refers to physical attributes, less tangible features of the community. And I guess I'd ask you, do we want to change or alter anything with regard to the value statement there? So we'll go on to mission. Brighton is a community with dedicated volunteers and staff that will work together to set and achieve goals. You see the comment below. And I'd ask, do we want to make any changes to our mission, the draft mission statement? What would you like it to read?
Comments that David and Ellen Goody supplied, and I think they follow. So the second paragraph on their mission statement.
You're looking at, what page are you looking at, Councillor?
16 of 22, 122.
I have a different numbering.
It's the first after the draft.
Yeah.
Immediately after?
Yeah. The very first page up.
Page 16 of the
Mine's of 170. So.
you know what? It's the paper so cool for the last page. The last page.
It's okay, I've got the deputy mayors.
Yep.
Do we just want to adopt the one that Mr. Green and Ms. Goodeve?
Sorry. through you, Deputy Mayor, to you, Mayor. I think it's a good statement. I don't know what others feel.
How do we feel?
It encompasses more.
Yeah. Sure. The municipality of Brighton's mission is to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the community, provide fiscally sound and efficient customer service, uphold the public interest, and advance the community toward our vision. We like that better? May I write on your...
Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm almost 100% sure that Ellen Goodeve did this in her career, did a lot of strategic plans, so, you know, I think some of their comments are very good here.
So everyone's okay with that? We'll swap out our statement with the statement provided by the Green Goodeve couple. So the vision statement: Brighton will be a draw for people and businesses and allow our residents to age in place. How do we feel about that?
I forget who it was, but somebody mentioned youth in that statement. You remember that, anybody? Because we're saying...
There was a comment about youth, yeah.
Yeah. So if our youth and...
This one is good. We will preserve and enhance the unique character, community spirit, small town values, and superior quality of life for all who live and work and visit in the municipality of Brighton. No, that's why I changed that word. Does that work better? It then doesn't identify any age group, any demographic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We okay with that?
I'm good with that.
I'm just going to alter town to municipality of. And then we go on to the SWOT. So the strengths. Do we want to add anything to the strengths, remove anything from the strengths? We okay with it as is? Yep. Weaknesses, same question. And there was a comment about public works equipment, but we do mention that. So we mention equipment and so on. And there were no specific comments under opportunities or threats, but a general comment under the SWOT itself. Some of the SWOT assessments carried out in previous years might work in reviewing part of them for the planning process. So I did review the last strategic plan and included it as part of the original surveys that were sent out in November before the inauguration. So that's just by way of information. So moving on to strategies then. Our first global strategy is complete statutory mandates and review, implement past plans. Comments we've received are we would readily welcome cannabis bylaws and sales, and the accessibility committee should be consulted on issues and recommendations from the committee to be followed. And I think those two items are encapsulated in the second and fourth goals. Is that a fair comment? So our next global strategy is promote wellness in the community. And the comments we received are create new drop-in space 2024, partner with the Brighton Legion. The next one is need for assistance to families living at or below the poverty level within the community. And outdoor facility, artificial ice, surface off-season should be tennis and ball hockey club, ball hockey, etc. So I'm not sure what to do with the create senior drop-in space other than to say, to suggest that it should be in the Brighton Legion is asking another group to take on, and maybe we will partner with the Brighton Legion, that's not a problem, but I think we need to be more open with this strategy itself and see what comes of it as we move forward. It's not a bad idea, but I don't think it should be included in the strategic plan to force another organization down a road we haven't discussed.
Perhaps move it up a couple of years.
We could move it up maybe 1 year.
Okay.
To 2020.
Oh, no, I'm looking at their notes.
They said 2024.
Yeah. No, I think it's...
Leave it at 2021?
We have to stay current.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
So then the other one is need for assistance to families living at or below the poverty line. At some point, somewhere in here, we do talk about affordable housing or attainable housing, and we need to look at our wording there, I think. But this specific line is, for better or worse, a county responsibility. So it shouldn't be included in our official strategic plan. And I don't disagree with the comment about the outdoor artificial ice rink. So I drafted words right now. What does it say? Build an outdoor skating rink by December 2025. How about we put build an outdoor recreation space that accommodates all seasons sporting opportunities, including recreational skating in the winter. Well, exactly.
How far out have you got that?
That's December 2025.
Yeah. Well, I've got 9. You're... But I have...
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Go ahead, Councillor LeBlanc.
I have notes in this one.
Deputy Mayor, through you. Where I look at the dates on the Aquatic Centre of 2022, it'd be easier and more achievable to do the outdoor skating rink before 2025.
Mm-hmm. I think overall, I think we have to have what we're going to do with recreation in Brighton, I think is a huge conversation that we have to have and plan out, because there are a lot of things. We're talking about the curling club tonight. All these things kind of go in hand, and if we don't pull everything together with a plan, we're going to make mistakes. So, you know what I mean? There's a bigger picture here that we need to have a discussion. So I think in the strategic plan, we have to have something in here about the things we want to do. And then at one point, I don't know how we want to do that, Mayor, but we need to sit down and actually really talk about what we're going to do with recreation in Brighton as a whole, and then have a timeline that's going to work. That's just my thought.
Good thought.
Go ahead, Councillor Tadman, and then...
Thanks through you to the rest of council. We do have plans sitting on shelves, like the waterfront plan, the trail plans. I think what we really need is to sit down as a council and see what we've got before we start expanding and spending more money on things that, because there already was a study done about a swimming pool here before.
It was called Focus 2000.
Yes, I know. But we haven't grown to the extent that they said we could feasibly be able to support a pool. So there's no point in telling the public right now that in 2 or 3 years you're going to have a pool here if it's not even feasible. Why even spend the money on a study? So I think all of those plans, instead of sitting and getting dusted off once every 5 years, they need to be looked at before we do anything else.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about. We need to just kind of come together, talk about all the things that we want and what the community wants, what plans we have in place, or what plans or studies that have been done, and create some sort of plan of how to go forward. Mm-hmm. Can I just go over to Councillor Anderson first?
I don't think this will gather dust because it's reviewable every year, right? We're going to review this every year of which we can look at some of those goal dates and things. Is that correct?
That's true. That's my hope.
We won't
anyway.
wait for
no, but
years.
I think what Councillor Tadman's talking about are those plans that have been formulated over the course of the last 20 years that are in fact now gathering dust. That people looked at and went, well, that's too expensive. Thanks for the consultant's report, and off we go. And there are probably half a dozen of those lying around. And many of them have quite purposefully been shoved to the side so that we don't spend money on that kind of stuff. And I think it's time we start investing in the community, especially as it relates to recreation space. So.
Councillor Rowley?
Thank you. Should maybe that be a goal then? Should that be a goal? It's something that we could achieve this year, to pull out and review all of the, we can call them wellness, or all of our recreational, what word am I looking for? Master plans that we have, and maybe that should be a goal, and it would be a goal that we could achieve for sure without spending money. It would just take some time, right, to review.
Yeah, good idea. Did you write that down?
I am. And what date do you want on that?
2019.
I would suggest by the end of this year, so that if there is anything that we could tangibly achieve in 2020, we could add some dollars to our budget.
Yeah. Councillor Tadman?
Yeah. Councillor Rowley was saying, I think that in itself should be an all-day meeting where we, and maybe even consider hiring a facilitator for that, and get that person to draw everything together, and then we have it all in front of us, so you have some idea where you can move and where you can't move.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll put a bookmark of review recreation / wellness master plans on file. We'll leave that with the Director of Parks and Rec as the responsible department by December 2019, and we would anticipate that the Director would come forward with a concept of how we would do that. If that means hiring a facilitator, then we'll talk about that at budget. Okay.
Any other comments on that? Go ahead, Councillor Bateman.
There we go. Thank you. On the whole outdoor rink, like I agree, look at what we have, because Mr. Miller, when he responded to the questions, because we're due to have the capital infrastructure audit, so to speak, so we know what we have, what it's going to cost to get them up to snuff. And at that point, could you not put ad hoc committees together? Because some of that stuff is going to be big budget items, and some of the stuff, if you had an ad hoc committee, there's expertise out there, like at the Pond Hockey Classic that we attended, that Jeff Morehouse, when I talked to him, he's the one that designed all those outdoor rinks, so he would be willing, if we sent someone there to talk to him, so that you can get a legitimate timeline, cost, price, to see if it's even doable. That would be up to somebody to direct them that way. And then if you're talking big budget items, that's where you're going to have to get the experts, where it's going to cost money. But I think it all has to come after you know what we have and what it's going to cost.
Absolutely. Any other comments on that section? Sure, go ahead, Councillor Tadman.
I just wanted to go back, and I think probably put it in strengths. We've talked a lot about the aging population, but not about the youth. I had the privilege on Friday to go and judge at a science fair at the Brighton Public School, and those kids are amazing, and they're so much smarter. I think I need to go back to kindergarten.
Possibly.
But we have 3 schools here, and we have 3 public schools and a high school, and known all over Ontario, that the high school, for all kinds of reasons. So I think that's a real strength that we need to brag about. In whatever, so if we put it in strength, that's a big strength. So, and we need to work harder to accommodate these students so they stay in the area after they graduate from here. Maybe go off to school but come back, and some do.
Yeah. Did you go ahead?
Yeah, I wanted to, and kind of some of the discussion got away from me as I was flipping pages earlier, but I totally agree with Councillor Tadman that we need to, we focus much on our retirees, but I think we need to also focus on the value that youth bring, and I heard that a lot over the summer, that we need to focus a little bit more on the value that they bring to our community.
Is there a way to implement that?
Well, I'm looking under strengths and the little subheading, the community, and where we talk about retirees, and if then we add something like, and a pool of youth attending our 4 Brighton schools.
Yeah.
Is that all we want to say about the youth?
And
bringing the talents of those
talented youth. Can I say it like that?
I was going to say the value of youth talent. But we are going to review this plan again, so there's still time to put some new verbiage.
Carry on.
I guess we don't care. Okay. Any other comments on that section, or?
No, that would just be mine. Like I said, we've got time. We're going to review this again, so this isn't carved in stone yet.
But we do have those comments on.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Next, be a responsible municipal team. The only comment is captured here is fill key staff positions with highly experienced and qualified individuals. I think we encompass that in fill key staff positions. So if we're okay, we'll move on past that. Deputy Mayor, there's some people.
Deputy Mayor, in the responsible in the municipal team, do you think we should mention some of our committees?
In what way?
And saying that we got strong committees assisting in various functions in the municipality, because we do have the committees and we should mention them in our strengths.
Yeah, we're mentioning staff, but we should mention the committees as well.
Under strengths.
The one other thing that I read that we're missing, we don't talk enough about Corrigan or Carvington and the outside rural, to bring them, bond them into the municipality and the town, to bring the rural in with us, because we're talking a lot about the town stuff and the small hamlets. Just my view, and I know I've got lots to learn, and I know there's lots that's been done before me, so I'm just asking questions. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do have that unique situation where we do have a large rural area and a large urban area, and you know, when you're talking about expanding and doing things, it does happen generally in the urban area, and it's not about exclusion. It's just kind of part of how it happens. But I agree with you. I mean, we always have to be striving to bring those communities together. Absolutely.
Like mentioning the farmers market somewhere's in here, somewhere's around there, as something to bring in, just as a point. So
when that comes up, absolutely, we'll put it in. You know, that's what we need to do.
So under, if I may, Deputy Mayor. Oh, sorry, Councillor Rowley. Okay. So under strengths, the third bullet point said staff, and I'm going to change that to municipal team. And it's going to read, the municipality has professional staff with years of experience, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and a dedicated group of volunteers on council committees.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Does that work? Because they do make up part of our municipal team.
Yes.
Yep.
Councillor Rowley, you had a comment?
Yes, thank you. And that would be part of the Be Responsible municipal team. The second item, we have whole team building sessions with staff and council. I'm wondering if this initiative should also be maybe extended to the community groups that maybe Councillor LeBlanc was talking to, that we do a little bit more community team building with our communities other than the core of downtown, as well as the community groups that we stay involved with.
Sure. Do you have a suggestion on like how we can implement this into a bullet that we can add?
Or expand the existing one?
You're saying
expand the existing bullet to whole team building session, staff and council, as well as community and community group team building sessions. I don't know, put the words in.
Yep. Councillor Tadman.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important, and we're not just thinking about Codrington, because Presqu'Île is a part of Brighton, and they do amazing things over there. But there's also all the other hamlets, Smithfield, Hilton, all the way around.
Yep.
So it should cover all of the areas.
Absolutely.
And that represents Councillor Anderson Smithfield, see?
Yes. Always mention Smithfield.
I'm Gosford.
Okay. Any other comments on on that section, or we can move on?
So I'm moving on to develop the global strategy of develop a robust economic development tourism framework. We've already spoken about waterfront development, so if we were to look at that, we would encompass it in that waterfront master plan, that plan review. So we don't need to include that in this particular element. The one that I did note that came up more than once, and sometimes it was specific to items and sometimes it was more global, but develop a tourism strategy. And I think that's probably a good idea. It's coming out of the community, first of all, but so what we've got is develop a tourism attraction and return plan that includes Wi-Fi in the downtown. And I wonder if we should turn that into develop a tourism strategy that includes Wi-Fi in the downtown, but it doesn't have to be specific to Wi-Fi. There should be a greater strategy.
Yeah, maybe you can say that includes perhaps Wi-Fi tourism, includes a few items. We want Wi-Fi on there because we think that's an important part of it. That was where it came from originally, right? But I think it's a good idea to develop some sort of tourism strategy. There's a few things about economic development and even the waterfront. It all goes hand in hand, I believe. And we need to hire someone really soon in order to get this done.
I would guess that would be my comment, that if we could hire someone, or once we do have staff in place, that January 2020 could even be bumped up a few months if we have something.
Yes, we keep saying once we have staff in place, and if you've been here for the previous 4 years, that phrase came up as well. So I really is there any way we can get this going sooner than later? It seems to be the economic development just keeps coming up.
Well, I can't say anything for certain, but sometime this week, a fella is coming to town to sign on the dotted line, and that fella would be responsible for hiring more of the municipal team. So,
well, we'll make that one a priority.
That would be my suggestion. Can we move? I think that one needs to move to the top.
We just have so many different areas that are touched by that. So.
My understanding is that staff have already begun the recruitment process for a planner, but I'm not sure how far down the road they've gone.
Okay. Councillor Anderson?
And with that, could we not start the recruitment process for the other positions that are required for tourism and economic development and that type of thing?
Yes, but keep in mind that they would report to the planner. So I think the intent is to hire the planner and then get the planner to hire his or her team, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
You have to start with the director first.
Yeah. In theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I go along that we need to move this up sooner than later, as Councillor also said. So
I think we're all in agreement on that.
Okay.
It's a priority. We just have to make sure that we push that.
Because I think that ties in with recreation, with everything. It's all part of it.
Absolutely. Councillor Rowley.
Just one more comment on the developing the tourism strategy. Should we add and rebuilding partnerships with the region? Do we have that somewhere?
Yep.
Okay, as long as
it's here somewhere. Continue our commitment to regional, Quinte and Northumberland economic development.
I thought there was something about rebuilding.
That's, I think that's a strength or an opportunity. That's an opportunity. Yeah. So I can do economic development and tourism. Yeah. Okay.
Councillor Tadman.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't speak about the environment in some way or another, maybe tie it in with both economic and tourism. But I think it's next week, there's that open house to go down for the new property that was bought down by where Willenroth is. And I've always thought that something more than just sitting there with a sign on it should happen. And I could see something like eventually having maybe, because people are using a lot of kayaks now and a lot of canoes down on the bay, and it would be nice to have, so that they could go over there, have a picnic at Willenroth and the other place, have hiking trails through there or something. So maybe next week that could be brought up. But in the meantime, I think we need something in our strategic plan.
So what I've written is develop a tourism strategy, and then in brackets, including Wi-Fi in the downtown, ecotourism or ecotourism, Presqu'île Park attraction partnerships. Well, that's huge too.
Well, there again, you draw the people that camp at Presqu'île campers. They can go across there, right, and hardly anybody in this town even knows that Will and Ross there, never mind the new piece of property. And it would, you know, it was such a nice for families to go to. I've walked it quite a few times, and actually when you walk down, there's a sandy beach right at the shore that you can go swimming there, yeah.
But if we include ecotourism in that works? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Bateman, go ahead.
When we develop the tourism strategy, I think it's important that we make sure that we incorporate the 12 months a year, because depending on the time of year, it's a different reason people visit our municipality. In the springtime, when it's waterfowl, we've got to get back to contracting for that. In the summertime, it's Presqu'île. In the wintertime, there's no busier facility than Mr. Miller's facility, you know. I've kind of got the inside information because of my role as running Braid Minor Hockey, and we funnel a lot of people through that building that contributes to economic development. Just based on tournaments alone, you're bringing in 2,000 to 3,000 visitors that spend their money at all the businesses. So depending on the time of the year, it's a different area that these people are coming to town. And the part on the Wi-Fi, I'm 100%, because you know where I stand on broadband. But I don't know if we want to pigeonhole ourselves just to the downtown, maybe Wi-Fi in our key facilities. Because again, Mr. Miller can attest, our Wi-Fi in our community center and the arena is sketchy at best. I think you got to stand on one leg and hold your arm up in a certain position to get it. And when we funnel that many people through there, it's not good.
It works in the community center because that's where it's set up in that corner. Once you get outside the community center, because of this, the concrete and the steel, it just won't go.
So here's what I've got. Develop a tourism strategy, including Wi-Fi in the downtown and municipal facilities open to the public. Ecotourism, Presqu'île Park partnerships, close bracket, for all seasons.
Thank you. Scotty Anderson's here in the audience now, and Scotty probably doesn't hear me, but right now. But no. We had a Winterfest committee before, and then, you know, when you want to build snowmen and there's no snow and there's no ice in the bay, it's pretty hard to do Winterfest. But this year would have been a fabulous year. And that one year we had a path from Gosport over to Dougal's restaurant, and people used that all winter. So I'm seeing there, you know, we could tie that all in with Willenroth too. Yeah. So we could do a lot in the winter too if we had some keen people.
I think there's a lot of opportunities there. We might need to hire 2 economic development people.
Your microphone, Deputy Mayor. Yeah. So I'm going to move on, if that's okay, Deputy Mayor, to build a workable and livable community. And so there's a suggestion the train overpass, underpass go to Huff Road. The deadline for rail service should be sooner. We should look at the property at the corner of Prince Edward and Elizabeth to become a parking lot. Revisit our community safety zones, public transportation, and identify natural heritage assets and establish policies to maintain and protect them. So mostly we've encompassed those things, with the exception of making rail sooner. And I think making rail sooner would be a nice thing to do, but I don't unfortunately think it's realistic just from my conversations with Via Rail and the fact that Metrolinx doesn't see past Curtis during the Durham border. So there's a long way ahead before we're going to see rail service here, and for better or worse, June of 2025 I think is a best hope. So I would like to see that stay there, but I don't think it's realistic to move it up. The other thing that I did see as I was going through the various comments were comments around the beautification of our downtown, the safety of our downtown. We do have an earmark here about preparing a downtown traffic flow that prepare a downtown traffic flow that moves traffic and makes pedestrian safety a priority. And I just want to make sure that we know where we mean by that. And I think we should mean from John Street, the John Street Road allowance, down Elizabeth and Main to give or take Rundle Lane, which is where the new complex is going to be going. So I think we need to look at that entire stretch. And I think we need to include something that not just says safety, but also beautification in that. Because it's nice, but it could be nicer.
Go ahead, Councillor Rowley.
Right.
And then Councillor LeBlanc.
And then I would maybe suggest, and I don't know if we put it in here somewhere, Mr. Jefferson, that we, there again, initiate some team building with the DBIA so that we could partner with some of this beautification. We can't, although the DBIA does what they can with the dollars that they're allotted, but they only go so far as well. So could we add that as a goal at some point?
Well, how about we add the DBIA under Public Works as part of the responsible departments? It's not a department, we can't really force them, but...
No, we can't force them, but we can certainly work with them.
That's a good idea. Councillor LeBlanc and then Councillor Tadman.
Yes, when it comes to affordable housing, what I was looking at, I think we have a bylaw that only allows us to go 3 stories high. And when somebody, what's that?
Yes, we haven't got it.
Well, that's where I was going to the fire chief. He was sitting there very quietly. So I told you my question. It's one of the things that we only got a certain height, but if you want affordable housing, the higher you go, maybe you went to 5 stories, or even if you look at the waterfront, there's certain people that are buying a lot of waterfront in Gosport right now and buying up all the houses. It's one group, so you know what they're coming. They're going to come with condos because they got waterfront and view. So it makes it all, also there could be seasonal people that want to be in those condos instead of a trailer. So we got to look at it, affordable housing, so we would look to the fire chief on his recommendation to go to 4 stories or 5 stories. And fully knowing that we're going to get complaints about you're destroying our view. Okay?
Go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, certainly we can look at that going more than 3 stories. With construction policies and building code, what have you, there are other alternatives to allow for more stories without having to have that $1 million piece of apparatus sitting in that, whether it be standpipes and hose cabinets and things like that, which are all part of the safety systems that can be incorporated into new buildings. So it is, and we do have in place some agreements to utilize those type of equipment if necessary. So we're not totally without, but there are other options. So it's certainly something that could be looked at in the future.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, one of the reasons I brought that up because we're limiting in space and in land as we expand, so we can use our downtown core to increase our population base in the downtown core by going up instead of going out. Okay.
It certainly would please the province.
Of course.
So then I've just added in the develop planning policies that require developer to build multi blah 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 blah. So we put affordable in quotation marks because we couldn't come up with that word, and the word that was thrown around by I shouldn't say thrown around. The word that was used by Minister Clark was attainable, not just affordable, which has that connotation of rent geared to income, but attainable housing, which is that housing that is less expensive, and new home buyers might be able to actually get into the market. So I've added the word attainable if that's okay with everybody.
Yep.
Is there anything else on that one?
Councillor Tadman?
I've probably harped at this for years, but I'm going to do it again, and I know I'll probably be told it should go to budget, but I think it's also a responsible thing to do as a strategy. This building, would you say, is about 3/4 updated now? I think we need to finish it before we move on to anything else. And I think that should be in our strategic plan. When we have a brick holding the back door open so we can come in, I think we can move to something a little more modern and at least paint the door. But there's bricks falling off at the back, and that needs to be fixed.
Where do you think we get the bricks from?
Yeah. Pull out a brick and put it in the door.
Well, okay then.
We fix the bricks, we'll never be able to get in the building.
Oh, okay. But even the steps out there are disgusting, and if anybody has a look at the front of the building, you can hardly even read the sign Municipality of Brighton on there. You really have to, if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't even recognize it. So we don't advertise very well that this is our building.
So you want it in here for this year that we're going to be looking at this?
I do, because I've been saying it for about 15 years now. I think it should be a strategy for this year to get done in.
We had something about...
First. Well, if you're going to leave the roof, you don't go on a holiday, do you?
Oh, there it is. Continue upgrades to the municipal center. Yeah.
We could elaborate on that a little.
We're not at that section yet.
It's not. It's in a different. It's in a different section, which is okay.
Hello. There was a comment from Codrington that the municipal center up there needed upgrades as well.
Yeah, there is also
in here in one of the comments.
Yeah, we got big things to do in the curling club too.
There's somewhere we have something about municipal buildings, municipal properties. I don't know where it is on the off the top of my head.
Well, this one here, Mayor, you've got on page 14, repair and maintain critical infrastructure in a timely and fiscally responsible manner. We could just add some words to that.
What's the strategy? Same one? Okay, that one. Funding laws for roads replacement. Continue increasing municipal. No.
What's the heading on that?
Repair and maintain critical infrastructure. My page is 14 of 122.
Okay. Well, I thought somewhere in here we had something about.
Comes under weaknesses. Weaknesses. Back on page 5 of 122.
What's it say?
There are upgrades needed in the municipality, including more efficient buildings.
No, I thought somewhere in here there was something specific to doing an assessment on all municipal infrastructure. Yeah, because we did talk about it, and Mr. King had suggested wording around that. I remember that.
It's here on page 10. Be a responsible municipal team.
Prepare a facilities condition assessment report.
Okay, that
yeah.
could be it. Yeah.
That's what it is. So that would then identify what we need to fix and repair. That would include the Codrington building because it is a municipally held building. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. At that time, that's when we'd look at it and put them in order of priority, because once you do that audit, you just don't want to willy-nilly throw it, you have to do it.
Well, that facilities report would come with, here's what you need to do and here's when you need to do it by, or recommendations they're put.
Councillor LeBlanc?
Yes, through you, Deputy Mayor. One of the things, I've only been a councillor for a month, 2.5 months, but I noticed in coming to the municipal building here, there should be a reorganization or relooking at the administration offices, how they're allotted, how they're done. Like most people go to the 3rd floor instead of the 2nd floor, and just look at how traffic is for the elevator and everything else. Yeah.
We certainly could look at, I think when people come in the building, I mean, once it's finished and they're using the front door again, I think it's confusing for people where they need to go. So we definitely need to talk about that and some ideas.
I think at budget you'll see a want to bring someone in that that staffs that counter on the second floor that would also be able to take payments. And I think that would be a wise decision if we went down that road.
I made that recommendation in my first week.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you'll see it at budget come forward.
Thank you very much.
That's my anticipation.
I just wanted to add that comment.
And I have no problem being the receptionist. I had to do it about 3 times today.
Well, then the job is filled.
See, there it is.
Save the money, move on.
And fairly cheaply, I must say.
That's right.
So if I could just add to Councillor LeBlanc's comments regarding floor 2 and floor 3, my concern is more accessibility for the third floor. I would hate to be the person in the wheelchair if the elevator goes down. So I think there needs to be some look and talk about how those accessibility issues get looked after if there's an issue, regardless of fire, but just that elevator has history, and we've had it shut down before. Those kind of things would concern me.
I agree it's a concern, but I know there are buildings, maybe not in Brighton, that you only have access through an elevator. So there must be some sort of plan or some way of planning around that.
Usually the plan that I've always seen is you go to the people rather than make the people come to you. If they're downstairs and they can't get up, you give them service and you...
Get up in the elevator, but then they can't get out.
Working, fine.
If it's working. But what if they get up there and then it stops working?
Well, then you have a problem.
That's a problem, right? That's a problem.
But things happen everywhere where there's an elevator. You have to have a plan, though.
That's right. I think there are...
So that's the kind of thing that we would hear from the accessibility committee if that was a serious concern. But I think that we have an elevator in this building solves all sorts of accessibility issues.
To get there, I have concerns of people getting out.
I understand, and I understand that elevators in Brighton are a weird thing. But we're becoming a real grown-up municipality now, and we're going to see more and more of them as time goes on. I worked in the big old city at one point, and there was certainly no way of getting up to the 43rd floor without taking an elevator, and if someone in a wheelchair had been trapped up there, just like on our 3rd floor, someone would have had to carry them down, and maybe it would be a bit embarrassing, but at least they would be down. So the accessibility question is answered by having an elevator in place. I do understand your concern. Can I move on?
Yes.
So we're going to support our fire and rescue services. And the only comment was that a new fire and ambulance station is a must, and it has to be built south of the railroad tracks, and then there would be no need for an over or underpass. I'm not sure I agree with any of those. Well, I agree with the new fire ambulance station is a must. I'm not sure I agree with the rest of the statements. So are we okay with the goals as they stand in that portion?
Councillor Bateman, go ahead.
The only thing that stands out, would we not want to bump up the fire master plan? Because we're talking about constructing a new station, and then the master plan review comes after that. It just seems out of order, unless they've already done it.
Yeah. If I can, through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Bateman, we did do in 2013, completed a fire master plan, and we're still working from that plan, and there's still a little ways to go with it. So we felt that we would complete that by 2021, 22, and then we would be in a position to review at that time. So that's why we set that date.
Any other comments on fire?
There was the one suggested in here also to build it closer to Huff Road, so you get to the south faster. Did you see that in here?
I did.
We'll have to extend water out there.
I saw it.
The Smithfield.
Councillor anyone else on fire? No, we can move on.
The next global strategy is engage with members of the community effectively and more frequently. The comments received are customer service policy is a must, and social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. So we do have a customer service, something about customer service in here. Develop a customer service policy that is required for all frontline staff, including council, by October 2020. And it is silent. We are silent on social media.
I would say that would be something that the economic development person would do. Do we need it in the strategic plan in order for it to happen?
We do already have a policy? Well, there you go. Very well.
Okay, so we have a policy. I'm hearing that
So we don't
the
need it in the
economic
strategic
development person would do that, so we don't need to add it. Okay.
So we all okay with those goals as they're laid out? Next one is repair and maintain critical infrastructure in a timely and fiscally responsible manner. And did we receive any specific goals? Comments received. More specific goals to general, slow development until infrastructure can catch up. Plan for maintenance to all storm ponds, sidewalk improvements in accordance with accessibility requirements, and actively pursue funding opportunities. So I think by and large we've captured those comments in here. Implement stormwater master plan recommendations, prepare a water supply continuity plan. We all good here?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we've captured the other comments, with the exception of things like the timelines are not feasible. Well, we'll figure that out over time if that's true. This is a living, breathing document. Again, the traffic light thing at Highway 2 and Ontario Street, if we include the safety that encompasses that entire stretch of Main Street, will be okay. Protect wildlife and bylaw to prevent strip cutting. I only saw that once as one comment. I didn't see it as a broader concern in the community. So are we okay with those?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've made some changes, and we will so we can do one of two things. We can either make the changes and bring it back to council for ratification, or we can make the changes and then hold an open house with those changes, which I think would be the prudent thing to do, just in case we haven't had opportunity to hear what everybody has to say. They can come and see what we've done this evening. We can create storyboards so they're spread out. We don't need to hold a council meeting per se. We can do a public open house where people can come and make their comments as they need to. That would be my preference, but it's up to council, of course.
Is that a recommendation that needs to go to council then? Could I?
Well, I believe it's in your motion.
Well,
yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so I do have a motion here regarding what we've just discussed. It's moved by Councillor Rowley and seconded by Councillor Tadman that the Committee of the Whole accept the draft strategic plan and direct staff to prepare a public forum and bring the strategic plan to the next scheduled regular council meeting. Any discussion on that?
Could we just put as amended, the draft strategic plan as amended? Is that okay with the mover and seconder?
All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there are another. Let's make sure I have this right. Okay, next we move into question period. Are there any people present here tonight that would like to make any comments on what we discussed tonight? No, everyone's waiting for us to be done. Okay, so we move to adjournment. And I have a motion made by Councillor Bateman, seconded by Councillor Anderson, that the Committee of the Whole meeting, February 19, 2019, adjourn at 6:26 p.m. All those in favor? And that's carried.